What does this day mean to you, and what does it mean to?
Yeah, it's huge for me. It's something I've always done and I've carried wherever I've been. And we talk about to get to a championship and playing a New Year's Day 6 and the playoffs and all those things. So to move the mountain, right, which is our regular season, is a stack of rocks. My wife hand paints them all. You'll see them every week. She spends a lot of time. My whole kitchen table is full of paints and rocks right now, which is interesting. But she does a great job, takes great pride in it. So to move the mountain, you got to move it one rock at a time. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. It's about the next week, which is a common coach's theme, right? No matter what sport, whether you're on the grass, the water, or whatever, it's the next event. So today we signify we've finished the summer, and now we get to move to football. They've done one heck of a job. It's 33 workouts for these kids. That's just what I've asked of them. That's not the player-led workouts they do twice a week and all the other things they do to make sure that they're great. Approved to be a pro Wednesdays when they're here doing yoga and regen and roadie and chiropractors, massage. So there's a lot that goes into sports, across the board, and all of our whole campus with all of our student athletes. They should just be committed for the work that they do. So to move that one rock at a time. So we go to line up against UNT on September 3rd. There'll be a UNT rock. Hopefully we break them all along the way. It just signifies we broke it, smash it. I take one, the kids will start taking them. We've had coaches' kids take them to show and tell. It becomes a big deal. And it just kind of signifies, all right, enjoy the win, go back to work the next day. What's our next opponent?
So breaking the rock, it's not only advancing to fall, it's winning summer.
Yes. Yeah. And so for us, it's about winning the summer. And I wouldn't let them do it if they didn't do it. We made a lot of progress from January. I'm really pleased with our team. It's about spending time together, which we spent a ton of time together. It's they have to do this. And there's times I put them in stressful situations. They have to coach each other. At some point, coach is going to send them across that white line. It's just those 11 dudes out there. It's figuring it out. It's coaching through it together. It's picking one another up. It's encouraging. It's all those things. And to be great, we're going to have that from everybody.
Do you allow yourself to tell us some of the standouts from this summer, or is it everybody was great and it's a team?
It's a tough one. It's funny. I thought about that question last night because this is always the question you get. There's always guys that are phenomenal, right? You saw a chat today did 40 reps. We just benched yesterday. That was our heavier day just to work out. So to come back and get 40 when you don't prepare for it, just to do it as a kind of a fun thing to do because everybody likes to do it, it's pretty impressive. You had JT did 32 today. Hickman did 26. There's a lot of those kind of guys. Isaiah Wakobe did 15. So we're starting to get up there where we're going. If you look at Power Clean, you saw Rashid do 335. Jimmy's done 330. You saw Cam Irwin Sparks at 355. You got Chad at 355. So you got a bunch of dudes way up there and moving weight. T-New squat at 700. That's a lot of weight. Probably more than you need. That's way more than you need, but that's what he wanted to do. So I'm not going to ever shut a guy down. So some of those kind of things. Rashid jumped 10.9. Curly jumped 11 feet, quarter inch on his broad. Rashid jumped 40 inches yesterday, which is a lot. Coming off 2 days of work and a squat max to go 40 for me because I'm going to really pull you. Curly went 39.5. We had a bunch of guys over 30, which is pretty impressive. So good stuff, when it comes down to it.
I feel like Elijah doing 45 yesterday, then come back doing 40 on max day, which is, if it were me, I'd be like, I'm going to be rested and try to get on max day.
Right.
Does that maybe signify, I guess, that there's more than just the showing, winning the last day? I guess that he was just kind of doing it day by day process.
Yeah, I'll give him credit. These dudes work every day. They attack every day. They know what's coming the next day. They don't save for one thing for the next. They've been emptying the tank. We've been talking about that, empty the tank, and it's hard. I was taught a long time ago that there's always slippage, right, in our training. There's slippage in your work. There's always slippage in my work. So we try to, for what it's worth, we try to train above it. So the slippage brings you back down where you want to be in that championship level football. The discipline, the details, the coaching. You saw us coach today, and a guy misses a cone, he's going to have to go back. It might be 5 times. It might be. And I had a discussion with one young man about why, and he understood. But you got to explain it sometimes, why. I appreciate their effort and desire and the little bit of fire. If it's all kosher, we're not going to get very far. It's relationships, right? They take stress and they take iron. Iron sharpens iron, which is the old adage, right? And it is true. So I think we built a lot in the summer. 9 weeks together is a lot. They get a little bit of break here, and then we head into fall camp. And the great part about college football is your summer, your ball, your break, your football. With us, again, your strength, your break, your spring ball. So it's a good cyclical type thing. They're ready to be done with us, right? They're ready to move on to the next phase of football and letting their work showcase itself.
A lot of talk about championships today, at least from what we've saw. How do you guys talk about championships with the guys?
Yeah, that started with Mordecai, back in the winter. And he's been like that all summer. And so I've kind of challenged older dudes, and we've had some really intimate conversations that I won't share of, why'd you come back? And like, I didn't make him tell me, but I'm like, just be honest. Why'd you come back? Maybe it was draft stock, maybe it was winning a championship, maybe it's all kinds of things, right? Someone's getting their master's degree, but they all said one thing in common: unfinished business. So as I go back and look over the last few years of what's happened, right, because you research what's gone on, they have unfinished business. So we just kind of carried that. The more leadership you have within that group, the better we're going to be. If we have to lead everything, it can be successful, but it won't be as successful or nor near as fun for these kids. When they take ownership of it and it kind of runs itself to a point, that's where it comes. So I think they've done a great job of that. And we talk about, you saw the last rep of everything we did was champions. So they just try to, again, the mental and the visual of that. I'm a big visual guy. I'm not a big talker, but I am about the visual, and this is what it is, and they've done a nice job.
Go ahead, sir.
Now, was there a turning point during the summer workouts where you're like, okay, the guys are ready for fall camp?
I would say week 3 of June, these dudes we had dudes hitting 330, 350, all kinds of strength numbers were out the chain. I was like, holy smokes, we're way ahead of the game here. So I was like, all right, so what do we do week 4? You know what I mean? Just try to kind of taper them a little bit. And then they got a nice break in the middle of it. But I knew going through June, the way that Dwayne Chandler, my assistant, runs the speed work stuff twice a week, which is part of our conditioning, but it's working on speed mechanics. Because whether you're a big dude or whether you're a skill guy, everybody's got to be able to run, especially playing in this style offense, which I'm very comfortable with throughout probably since 2008 when I worked with Gus Malzahn and then Norvell and those guys. I'm very comfortable with this pace. So I was really pleased with where we're at. So then June was more of like getting into position stuff, you know, pedaling our corners, shorter bursts for our big guys, stuff like that. So I've been pretty pleased. Always going to camp a little bit on the underside if you have to. Don't overdo it. It's hard to get their legs back. So I feel like we're in a really, really good spot. Heading to camp, they get a nice break mentally, physically, and it's transition into playing ball.
You talked about researching this team, and one thing about the program the last 3 years is hot starts, kind of slow finishes.
Yep.
I guess, was that kind of maybe conscientious in your mind? Like,
Always. And I think I guarantee if you went and really looked at it, that's pretty much everybody in the country, except for the ones that are winning it. Maybe top 15.
Mm-hmm.
But look at it. We talk about winning down the stretch, right? I say it all the time. It's super fun in August and September, probably October. And then what are you doing in November? Like, how do I change my training in November to make sure Rasheed is fast and physical, Massey's fast and physical, Jimmy's fast and physical? You know, you got to keep that freshness to it. So how does Tanner and Preston have live arms? So there's a lot of little intricacies that go into that. And finishing down the stretch is how you win championships. Let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to the last one, and championship and all that kind of stuff. So that's how the great ones win it. So it's a constant focus for us.
I asked Elijah and Jimmy this, but I feel like in spring practice with a new coaching staff, it's kind of like, hey, you got a little bit of time, let's kind of meet each other, get installed, and then maybe 33 practice over summer might be the chance to actually grow together. Did you maybe find that this summer?
Yeah, because they did. So coach was smart. The way the rules work is they can get 1 hour a week. So they did some of that in June, which is a great way with today's transfer portal and all that. Everybody's adding new people. So it was a great way for them to get the scripts out there and plan and then get that right to learn their kids. Because otherwise, say a kid comes in June in June and they don't see him until August, you're 2 months behind that. That's not a good way to do it. I mean, your older kids are teaching them, but that's not the way to do it. So for them, that's been a great way for them to learn. And then the 33 workouts they had doing it together, we warm them up and we leave. They lead it. They got their scripts on both sides of the ball. It's up to them. And they'll get as much out of it as they want. You have to put some autonomy, I believe, on them to do it. Like the way I message our kids, it's on a grease board. That's my meeting. If you don't know how to do it, then come take a picture of it. Yeah. But I don't give them a whole, that's just what it is. That's my expectation. They'll meet whatever expectation we set, they will meet. There's no doubt. Whether your kids, my kids, they'll meet every expectation you set it and you hold them to the standard.
How would you best describe the bond that's built during these 33 days, and how important is that to that success in November?
I believe it's super important because I think not only the bond with us, because as you know, your strength staff with them probably more than anybody. Now the coaches will give them a lot more full camp, and our coaches do a great job of spending time with them and meals and hanging out and being down in the weight room, which I think is fantastic. But the bond, again, is with them, right? Working together, being pushed, being stressed. The weight room, you can do it a lot, but it's where you do it is in the conditioning, because nobody likes to run. Nobody likes to run. Doesn't matter what you're running, right? But when we're running the hill, we're running 20 of them, and they're attacking every rep, and they're talking to each other, picking each other up, that's where you know the bond starts to come. When a guy can take a little bit of coaching, which we're still trying to teach, that's everywhere. If he tells you to stand up, it's probably because you're bending over. He's just coaching you. And then with the faster we can get to those kind of aspects, the better we're going to be as a team.
Awesome.